Good morning, my wonderful Vidyashriyans of grade 7. I hope you all are fit and fine at home. So, with this video lecture, let's start the new chapter of history, that is, chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms. Beta, in grade 6, we have learned that new small kingdoms have started emerging like Harshvardhan. Remembered or not? I hope you all have remembered that. So, as the heading suggested, new kings and किंगडम्स, तो हम इसमें ये समझेंगे कि नए किंग्स और किंगडम्स ने मिडिवल पीरियड में कौन कौन से इमर्ज होने शुरू हुए थे और ये किंग्स नए किंग्स बनते कैसे थे. Beta, after seeing this map, you will be able to know that these small kingdoms created larger dynasties. And many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. This map shows the major ruling dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent between the 7th and 12th century. सो बेटा, गुर्जर प्रतिहारास, पालास एंड राष्ट्रकूटास, ये जो हैं तीन मेन ये साम्राज्य थे, और चामन्स भी था जिसको हम बाद में चौहान्स के नाम से जानते हैं. और इन्हीं तीनों साम्राज्यों की आपस में बहुत सी लड़ाइयाँ होती थी बिकॉज दे ऑल वांट्स टू कंट्रोल्ड ओवर कन्नौज. Now let's understand the emergence of new dynasties. Beta, by the 7th century, there were big landlords or warrior chiefs in different regions of the subcontinents. And these kings acknowledged them as their subordinates or samant. They were expected to bring gifts for their kings or overlords. As Samant gained power and wealth, they declared themselves to be Mahasamant, और उन्होंने sometimes they asserted their independence from their landlords. और इसी तरह का एक इंसिडेंट हुआ था राष्ट्रकूटा चीफ का. दैट आई विल टेल यू दैट राष्ट्रकूटा चीफ overthrew his Chalukya overlord and he performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha, literally the golden worm. When this ritual was performed with the help of Brahmins, it was thought to lead to the rebirth of the sacrificer as a Kshatriya, even if he was not one by birth, and become an independent kingdom. उसने क्षत्रिय एक हिरण्य गर्भ करके ब्राह्मण्स की मदद से एक रिचुअल परफॉर्म किया, चाहे वो बर्थ से क्षत्रिय नहीं था, बट उस रिचुअल के बाद अपने आप को उसने क्षत्रिय घोषित किया और अपना नया किंगडम जो है वो बना लिया. बेटा, गुर्जर प्रतिहारास हरिचंद्रा वर ब्राह्मण्स who gave up their traditional professions and took to arms, successfully establishing kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan respectively. There are various type of architecture जो इस टाइम पर गुर्जर प्रतिहारास ने जिनका निर्माण किया था, जैसे खजुराहो जिसको यूनेस्को ने वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट भी घोषित किया है. राष्ट्रकूटा पीरियड में भी अलोरा केव्स में भगवान विष्णु के नरसिंह अवतार जैसे कई आर्टवर्क हमें देखने को मिलते हैं. So beta, now let's talk about the taxation when it comes in the form of forced labor. जो हम inscriptions देखते हैं चोला का, who ruled Tamil Nadu, refer to more than 400 terms of different kind of taxes. The frequently mentioned tax is vetty. उसका मतलब होता था जो forced labor के रूप में टैक्स लिया जाता था, कैश के रूप में नहीं, उसको वेटी कहा जाता था. एंड जो टैक्स लैंड रेवेन्यू की फॉर्म में लिया जाता था उसको कदामई कहा जाता था. और बेटा, ये जो टैक्सेस होते थे, ये जो रिसोर्सेज होते थे, दे वर यूज्ड टू फाइनेंस द किंग एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एज वेल एज फॉर द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द टेम्पल्स एंड फोर्ट्स. दे वर ऑल्सो यूज्ड टू फाइट द वॉर्स. Now let's learn what are prashastis and land grants. Beta, prashastis contains details that may not be literally true, but they tell us how rulers wanted to depict themselves. जैसा कि हमने पिछले चैप्टर में गियाजुद्दीन बलबन के बारे में पढ़ा था कि उसने प्रशस्ति लिखवाई थी कि उसका नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बहुत बड़ा साम्राज्य था, विच इज़ नॉट ट्रू. तो प्रशस्ति जो होती है उसमें लिखी सारी बातें इट्स नॉट लिटरली ट्रू, बट रूलर्स प्रशस्ति क्यों लिखवाते थे? ताकि वो ये दिखा सके अपनी आने वाली जनरेशन को कि हमारा इतना बड़ा साम्राज्य था. Now let's learn what are land grants. Beta, kings often rewarded Brahmins by grants of land. These were recorded on copper plates which were given to those who received the land. As you can see in this picture, this is a set of copper plates recording a grant of land made by a ruler in 9th century, written partly in Sanskrit and partly in Tamil. The rings holding the plates together is secured with a royal seal to indicate that this is an authentic document. Now let's understand warfare for wealth और युद्ध करने के तरीके, the techniques which were common in this period. Beta, you all have noticed that each of these ruling dynasties was based in a specific region. जैसा कि मैंने आपको एक मैप दिखाया था पहले, उसमें हर डायनेस्टी एक स्पेसिफिक रीजन में बेस्ड है. एट द सेम टाइम they all tried to control other areas. One particularly prized area was the city of Kannauj in the Ganga Valley, as I have told you earlier. For centuries, rulers belonging to Gurjar Pratiharas, Rashtrakuta and Pala dynasty fought to control over Kannauj because there were three parties in the long drawn conflict. Historians often described it as a triplet struggle. Beta, in this period, rulers also tried to demonstrate their power and resources by building large temples. So when they attacked one another's kingdom, they often choose to target temples which were sometimes extremely rich. One of the best known of such rulers is Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni, Afghanistan. He ruled from 997 to 1030 AD and extended control over the parts of Central Asia, Iran and the northwestern part of the subcontinent. वो लगभग हर साल भारत के सब कॉन्टिनेंट पे धावा बोलता था and his targets were wealthy temples. Beta, Sultan Muhammad was also interesting in finding more about the people he conquered. मतलब जिस प्रदेश को वो जीत लेता था वहाँ के लोगों को के बारे में जानने की उसकी विशेष रुचि होती थी और उसके लिए he entrusted a scholar named Al-Biruni and Al-Biruni write an account of the subcontinent. This Arabic work known as Kitab-ul-Hind, and it remains an important source for the historians. Beta, the other kings who engaged in warfare included the Chahmans, later on known as Chauhans, who ruled over the region around Delhi and Ajmer. Or they attempted to expand their control to the west and the east. और इसको किसने अपोज किया इस कंट्रोल को करने के लिए चाहमन्स को? चालुक्याज ने ऑफ गुजरात एंड Gahadwalas of western Uttar Pradesh. The best known Chahmans ruler was Prithviraja III, who defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Muhammad Ghori in 1191 but lost to him in the very next year in the year 1192. So that were the major warfare that happened during medieval period. Now let's understand and see about the Chola kingdom. And you know, Chola kingdom was one of the popular kingdom in this period. And first of all, we will understand how did the Chola rise to power. There were two rulers in this time, the famous rulers, which were Raja Raj I and his son Rajendra. But it was started, the Chola kingdom was started with the king named Vijay Vijayalya, who is basically from the Cholas from Uriyaru, and he built Thanjore town and temple itself, which was this temple was for the goddess Nishumbhadushini, and these were the two things done by Vijay Lalya in the Chola dynasty. And then we had Raja Raj I, which is the most powerful ruler of the Chola kingdom. And in this time, bronze images were made, which were considered finest in the world. Now let's learn the agriculture and the irrigation in the Chola dynasty. Beta, this region was popularly developed for agriculture and irrigation. Many of the achievements of the Cholas were made possible through new developments in the agriculture only. Although agriculture had developed earlier in the other parts of the Tamil Nadu as well, it was only from the 5th or 6th century that this area was opened up for large scale cultivation. Forest had to be cleared in some regions, land had to be leveled in some areas for the agriculture. In the delta region, embankments had to be built to prevent flooding, and canals had to be constructed to carry water to the fields. In many areas, two crops were grown in one year. Beta, in this period, the irrigation was very important because people were dependent on the rainwater. So, a variety of methods were used for irrigation. In some areas, wells were dug. In other places, huge tanks were constructed to collect rainwater, and most of the new rulers as well as the people living in the village took an active interest in all these activities. Now let's understand the administration of the Chola Empire. With a settlement of peasant known as Ur become prosperous with the spread of irrigation and agriculture. Groups of such villages formed larger units called Nadu. The village council and the Nadu performed several administrative functions, including dispensing justice and collection of taxes. So each village had a village assembly called Ur or Sabha, which looked after the administration of the village. And each peasants of the Vallai caste exercised considerable control over the affairs of the Nadu under the supervisions of the central Chola government. We have already understood that the Brahmins often received land grants or Brahmadigya. As a result, a large number of Brahmins settlements emerged in the Kaveri Valley as in other parts of the South India, and each Brahmadigya was looked after by an assembly or sabha of prominent Brahmins landholders. These assembly worked very efficiently. Their decisions were recorded in detail in inscriptions, often on the stone walls of the temples. Associations of traders known as Nagaramans also occasionally performed administrative functions in the town. Inscriptions from Uttar Mairur in Tamil Nadu provide details of the way in which the Sabha was organized in the Chola dynasty. The Sabha had separate committees to look after irrigation work, gardens, temples, etc. सो बेटा, जो उस टाइम की इंस्क्रिप्शंस और टेक्स्ट थे उनसे हमें कुछ डिटेल्स मिलती हैं जिससे पता चलता है दैट हु कुड बी द मेंबर ऑफ द सभा. सो उत्तर मैरूर इंस्क्रिप्शंस में जो है वो लिखा हुआ है कि ऑल दोज हु विश टू बिकम द मेंबर्स ऑफ द सभा शुड बी द ओनर ऑफ द लैंड फ्रॉम विच लैंड रेवेन्यू इज कलेक्टेड. तो सबसे पहले तो अगर किसी को उस सभा का मेंबर बनना है तो उसको लैंड ओनर होना ज़रूरी है. दे शुड हैव देयर ओन होम्स Next is they should be between 35 to 70 years of age. They should have knowledge of Vedas. They should be well versed in administrative matters and honest. If anyone has been a member of any committee in the last 3 years, he cannot become the member of the another committee. Anyone who has not submitted his accounts and those of his relatives cannot कंटेस्ट ऑफ द इलेक्शंस. जो इलेक्शंस वहाँ पर होते थे उसके लिए वो खड़े नहीं हो सकते थे अगर वो किसी सभा के मेंबर बनना चाहते थे. These inscriptions of the Chola dynasty gave us the knowledge about the Sabha and how anyone could be the member of the Sabha. So my dear children, I hope with the help of this video lecture you have understood about the new kings and kingdoms emerged during this period and how they work in agriculture, irrigation and administration. Okay, so please complete your PDF file and I will explain the chapter thoroughly in the Zoom classes. So see you in the next video.